Assalamualaikum and a very good day to everyone. Today, our group will be presenting about case study called Esp Audit Committee Charter. Our group consists of 4 group members presented by AFFIQ NASRUDIN, Muhammad AMIRUL FAHMI, Muhammad AZIM and Muhammad IRFAN. This case study look at the Esp Audit Committee Charter, which is a document set by the Board of Directors to explain the role, authority and responsibility of Audit Committee. The charter is important because it helps the board oversee areas such as financial reporting, internal and external audit, risk management, internal control, and ethical conduct. This review was requested by the new Audit Committee Chair with the aim of improving the charter and aligning it with the best practices and professional standards, especially those set by the institution of internal auditors. Based on our review, we identify 4 issues that arise in audit charter. One of the major issues is the audit committee role has been overlapping with the management's role. The audit committee is assigned responsibility that involve reviewing management strategic, tactical, and operational activities. This duty go beyond the normal oversight role of an audit committee and place it directly into management level and decision making and also execution processes. This lack of separation roles may reduce the committee's ability to remain independent and objective in its governance role. Looking at the evidence from the charter, under specific duty number 1, the audit committee is required to review management's tactical and strategic plans. Plus, under specific duty number 9, the charter also states that the committee review transformation transaction planned by management, including their implementation, monitoring, and performance analysis. This responsibility shows that the audit committee is involved not only in oversight but also in areas that are normally handled by the management. The problem with this is that the audit committee is supposed to act as an independent body that oversees and challenges management rather than taking part in management activities. When the committee is involved in planning and or operational matters, it may later have to review decisions that it was already involved in. This can reduce its independence and objectivity. According to the governance best practice and IIA professional standard, there should be a clear separation between management's responsibility and the audit committee oversight role. So, to address this issue, our first recommendation is to clarify roles and responsibility of audit committee. The audit committee charter should be revised to clearly separate governance and management roles. Strategic planning and operational execution should remain the responsibility of management, while the audit committee should focus on independent oversight and assurance. Next, they should strengthen the oversight focus of audit committee. Its role should be redefined to concentrate on reviewing risk management, internal control, and governance process related to the management activities rather than participating directly in decision making or implementation.
Next, we move to the second issue, which is we identify a governance weakness related to stagnant term limits for the audit committee chair in the Esp Audit Committee Charter. Effective audit committee leadership require periodic refreshment to ensure independence, objectivity and fresh perspective. However, under the ESP Charter, the audit committee chair is appointed for a 3-year terms subject to reappointment with no clear maximum limit or rotation policy. This absence of term limits may result in prolonged tenure. A long service chair may become overly familiar with management, which can reduce professional skepticism and weaken independence. As a result, the chair may be less effective in challenging management decisions, thereby reducing the overall effectiveness of audit committee oversight. The evidence supporting this issue is found in the composition and authority section of the charter. While the audit committee is granted strong investigative authority, prolonged leadership without rotation increase the risk of leadership entrenchment and reduce objectivity. From a best practice perspective, IIA guidance and good corporate governance principle emphasize leadership renewal to strengthen accountability and independence. Based on second issue, we propose 2 key recommendations. First, ESP should establish formal term limits for the audit committee chair. We recommend limiting the chair to a maximum of 2 consecutive 3-year terms. After completing this term, the chair should undergo a cooling off period of at least one full term before being eligible for reappointment. This approach promotes leadership renewal, prevents long-term entrenchment, and strengthens independent oversight. Second, ESP should implement a chair rotation or succession planning policy. This policy ensures continuity in audit committee leadership while allowing new perspectives to emerge. Rotation also helps reduce familiarity threats between the chair management and external auditor, thereby enhancing professional skepticism and objectivity.
For issue number 3, the issue identified is conflict of interest with external public accountants. Conflict of interest issues arise when roles or relationships may impair independence or objectivity. In the ESP Audit Committee Charter, this issue arises because the Chief Audit Executive is responsible for managing the fees of external public accountants and evaluating their performance. As stated in Specific Duty 6, the external public accountants' fees are managed by the Chief Audit Executive, and the Audit Committee reviews the Chief Audit Executive's evaluation of the external public accountants' performance. These arrangements place significant influence over external public accountants in the hands of an internal party, which creates a potential conflict of interest. These arrangements create a potential conflict of interest because the Chief Audit Executive is an internal party whose role and performance may be subject to review by the external public accountants. When the Chief Audit Executive manages external public accountants' fees and evaluate their performance, the external public accountants may be influenced by this relationship and may be less willing to raise sensitive or critical audit issues. As a result, the independence and objectivity of external public accountants may be impaired. To address this issue, two recommendations are proposed. First, the Audit Committee should develop a formal conflict of interest policy that clearly defines the roles and responsibility of the Audit Committee in relation to external public accountants' fees management and performance evaluation. This will help safeguard auditor independence and objectivity. The policy should also require clear disclosure and documentation of any potential conflict to ensure transparency and strengthen governance oversight. Next, the Audit Committee should institute a formal and periodic review process to assess potential conflict of interest, including the independence and objectivity of external public accountants. This process should include regular evaluation of auditor relationships, fee arrangement, and non-audit service to strengthen governance oversight. The result of this review should be formally documented and reported to the board to support informed decision-making and accountability.
Representing a critical gap identified in ESP Audit Committee Charter, the absence of the whistleblowing mechanism. Currently, the Charter does not include any formal process for employees or stakeholders to report fraud, unethical behavior, or misconduct in a safe and confidential manner. While the committee is authorized under Special Duty 16 to conduct investigation into law violation, the document is silent on how they actually receive the initial information or how it protects the reporter from retaliation. There is also no mention of confidential or anonymous hotline, and this is significant concerns because without a clear mechanism, employees may be afraid to report wrongdoing, and consequently, fraud and unethical behavior may remain undetected, which is significantly increase the organization's governance, compliance, and reputational risk. And I will explain why it is a matter based on the standard, and I will provide actionable solution. So why is this a change necessary? So according to the corporate governance best practices and IIA standards, the audit committee is required to oversee ethics and whistleblowing system. These systems are vital because they are support the early detection of fraud and promote a culture of transparency and accountability. So, to address this, I have two primary recommendations. The first one is establish a formal whistleblowing policy. We must update the charter to include clear procedures for reporting misconduct. So this will encourage stakeholders to speak up without fear and allow for the early detection of issues. Second,
is Audit Committee Oversight and Protections. The Charter should specifically assign the Audit Committee the responsibility of overseeing these reports. Most importantly, it must ensure strict confidentiality and protections against retaliation for those who come forward. So this will strengthen our governance oversight and promote the long-term integrity. Last but not least, summarize the broader impact and the need for urgent revisions. So in conclusion, the SP Audit Committee Charter requires urgent revision to ensure it meets modern governance standards. While we have discussed the lack of the whistleblowing mechanism today, which directly increase the risk of the undetected frauds, so it is part of the broader need for reform. To truly protect the organizations, we must also address overlapping management rules, stagnant leadership terms, and potential conflict of interest regarding external auditor fees. By separating oversight from the executions, implementing term limits for the chairs, and establishing this secure reporting system, so we will ensure the integrity and transparency of the entire organization.
That's all from us. Thank you for watching our video.